Welcome to the Force Pro Sports ZAP Report. Guys, finally, oh my gosh. The Laserforce offseason is so rough when you literally don't get to see the team's practice in full until the night before the tournament. I get spoiled watching football where there's like, okay, we have 3 months of training camp and you get all these camp reports and then, there's a lot more that you can like build off of, but up to this point, we've just had like player interviews and yeah. Sorry for the apparel. I've been up since like 5 a.m. US, refreshing the page for LF stats, waiting for you guys to upload them. Because I'm just hyped. I'm so hyped. This is so exciting. There are so many factors this tournament, things that can it's not a predictable tournament by any means. And in some other tournaments, we've had a lot. We've had minimal upsets, minimal things really change outside of predictions. But I do not feel like this is one of those tournaments. So I've got a ZAP report ready for you. I got some thoughts I'm gonna go over. For the first time, we can go over the full list of content that we plan to do in preparation for day one tomorrow. Or when you're watching this, it'll probably be this morning of Laserforce Internationals 2025. So we're going to start by reviewing the team rankings. There are no team rankings. Everyone's at 0 points right now. And we have no one in the top of each position, but we do have 11 practice games right here. So we are going to quickly review those. Allow me to share my window with you all. All right. You can see that. Beautiful. Oh, 1 second. I'm going to up the quality for you all. Yesterday, quality was a little bad. I've got to figure out how to lock that in place. Okay, cool. That should be a little better. Let's see. So, looking over the top 10 scores of the night, I'm very proud to say that Simply OK comes in with the number 1 commander game on the night with 35 MVP and 10 medic hits. Meanwhile, everyone else in the top 10, all Brisbane Knights. Go Simply OK. Let's go. Rusty, Basil, JFK, Tragedy, Sharpshooter, Twin, they all make an appearance here in the top 10. Great to see Tragedy back out in the field, even just for a game here. But, on the whole, we're starting to see a more of a mix of Brisbane players hitting those top 10 scores. I just like to call it the top 10. It's a bragging rights thing. As far as who had the highest MVP on the night, JFK, who I think most people would consider, if you had to rank the Brisboom players, I think a lot of people sleep on him or consider him the worst. He went last in our fantasy draft out of everyone on the Brisboom team, but he was the top MVP tonight. So good job on JFK. Basil, Rusty, Tragedy, Sharpshooters. We got Brisboom just ranking out those top 5. Coming in next, though, is the Fear Turkey, Simply OK, Fireball DK. Brew makes an appearance down at 9, and then Twin at number 10. So these rankings are really fun to go through, and we have such a small sample size. Most people play at only 2 or 3 games. And, this is practice night. Teams are going to be either trying something out. Some people just got off the plane. These might be their first games in the arena. So there's a lot of speculation here. That's what this is for. This is speculation. So this is not to say, okay, we know that Fear Turkey is going to be number 6 this tournament. That's not what I'm saying at all. When we're pointing these things out, it's just to draw inferences. It's information for us to get excited about. And I'm going to just comb through, we got Lucidoon popping up in the top 16 there. Sexy Meow. Ash makes it to number 12. Tomik all the way up at 21. There's some cool people in here. And you kind of see people going up and down. And especially based on your predictions, this is the first time we're getting any contextual evidence of what could be happening. Because everything from before this was just randoms. And random games versus structured games are very different. Average medic hits. Basil takes it with 6.3. Simply OK with 6. Ash VD tied with Twin, 5.6 for third place. That's really cool. Lovelanders showing out. Let's go. All right. So that's kind of our overview. I have a game highlight for you. Just so you know, the format for the rest of the week will be game highlight, player highlight, team highlight, my favorite storyline, game to watch today, and my closer than expected game prediction. So we are going to look at game highlight. I'm highlighting this game. Sorry, US East players who I love. I'm highlighting the BDRL versus US East practice game. This was probably going to be one of the one of the storylines from yesterday was how does the BDRL compare to the top players from the USA, and now we've got what we'd call like the big USA team. These are the big names. That was one of the storylines of the off season. And this was a game where the BDRL crushed, nearly got the elim with 1 life left for Brew. Putting Scythe at a 5.7 MVP on Commander, 4 missiles into him. He didn't get a single medic hit. So to shut out Scythe like that is a pretty dominant performance, as well as denying the resupply of their bases. We see Screever at the top with nearly a 12k commander score, Rook with a 2 hit diff on Scout and 8.5, Twin with 7 medic hits, and all 8.5k on Heavy, Prawn Boy 2.2 hit diff, Archdruid 2.3 hit diff, Danto 1.3, only getting tagged 3 times this game. So this is really a feather in the cap for BDRL. That right now, with their full lineup basically first time being fully seen like this, this should be intimidating for people. And I know like this is one of the first games, I don't know if it was the first, one of the first games that All-American Supercharged got to actually fully play together. We haven't seen Scythe or Do Not Pass Go in the arena thus far. Cody and Disco Stu had minor practice, but really it's mainly been Brew and Tomik getting all the practice games in. So these guys are starting definitely a few steps behind a bunch of the other teams. We look at the game. This game is interesting. I'm going to come back to that 10:45 mark. There are, sorry, Fear Turkey called me. I'm going to call you back in a sec. There are no medic hits this game until the 540 mark, right? So there is such a stalemate going on. This was not an immediate win for the BDRL, but going through the middle, like the start of the game, it's a pretty consistent, like, it just seems like there's a lot going on in the midfield, but the defenses are pretty shored up right now. We go to 1045. You can see that the BDRL begin to gain momentum. Do Not Pass Go all the way down to 7 lives here compared to Dante's 13. I want to show a sequence where the BDRL shows some really strong teamwork. I'm actually going to enlarge. I can enlarge this here. That should help. So we're going to look at this feed and just watch kind of this sequence of play. So I don't know if we see Screever. Basically, Screever stacking nukes here, it looks like. 43 specials. I don't know if that's what was happening truly in game, because sometimes the okay. And actually, I slowed this down to half speed. So we see, let's see, Prawn Boy is attacking the Heavy. Screever activates a nuke. Lenny drops a boost right before the nuke goes off, and I think that was a really savvy move. I wonder who he got with that. I'm gonna just back up a couple seconds. He's boosting. I think he got pretty much everyone but Scythe with that boost. So that was a savvy move by Lenny. Do Not Pass Go. Well done. Because this nuke's coming in. Oh nope. Yeah. He. Oh man, he might have only gotten Stu there. Did you see that? Hold on. Sorry to replay that. So what's happening is Screever's about to drop this nuke. Lenny hears the nuke going off. I'm playing it on half speed here. And I'm watching whose lives actually go up. because you can see BDRL moving in for the attack. And so Scythe gets a resupply, a full one. Okay, I think it might have just been Stu, to be honest, because Disco Stu's resupply went off before Lenny's boost. So that might have been a miscommunication on their part. But anyway, look at this. Twin, Rook, Twin. And Prawn Boy. That's the entire team that got tagged off of that nuke. Literally all 6 players. The BDRL tagged all 6 of the enemy players. The Brew with the 3 hits. Rook gets 2 into Brew, and then Brew comes up and tags Rook. But that is incredible synergy by BDRL. And then I do believe Screever gets immediately resupplied after this. So I think Screever went back to get resupplied, dropped the nuke, yep. And all 3 of their attackers, Twin, Rook, and Prawn Boy, were out in the field resetting people off of that nuke. If Twin might have, I suspect Twin might have gone in to do the whole like stand in the middle of their team and reset them all as they're all trying to run away. Well done by BDRL. Like, that's a pretty high level play I wanted to highlight. And I also, just out of curiosity, I'm going to watch the final 25 seconds of this, because we got Disco Stew on 1 life, Brew on 2 lives, and I just want to see the story here. So Twin kills out Stew, Brew is on 2 lives, the Rook puts 1 into him, so he's on 2 hit points. The Rook gets him twice, Brew misses his shot, 1 life left. Archdruid puts 1 into Brew. He gets Screever down. Screever was about to take him out, and Archdruid misses the shot, and it's over. Okay. Wow. Kudos to Brew for tagging down Screever, because he already had 1 out of his armor, so Screever would have got the elim right there. That was a pretty insane play by him. Okay. So that's the game highlight for the day. Player highlight. I'm going to highlight Fireball DK, who has taken what I've said about him not being hungry pretty personally. His you can notice in internationals in 2018, he was one of the top players on a bottom half seeded team while playing mostly the ammo position. And a big question mark, like, I was wondering if he'd be playing 3-hit this tournament. I was wondering if he would be playing scout this tournament. So far in the practice nights, all 3 games, he's played ammo carrier, and he is as good as advertised. I want to highlight these games. 5-4 on ammo at all is pretty crazy. 3.7 hit diff. This is against the Loveland Curveballs. So, all right, you might be saying that's a lower seeded team. Look at these splits. 8-0 on Waffle Raptor, 11-4 on the Commander, 7-1 on Redneck Tech. Sabo had the most success by far, and it was still almost a 2-hit diff. Like, this is nuts. We can look at this next game. 5.7 against Brisbane B, BDRL. Now, they switched up their lineup a bit. I don't know if this was their full strength, like, all-out lineup. I know Prawn Boy and Rook are really good, too, but most people would say Screever probably is the best player on this team, because he's proven from 2018, and he's gotten better to this point. But I mean, 5-7 again with a nearly 2-hit diff and 3 medic hits? What are you doing, DK? He completely dunked on Rook, 14-6. I mean, this is kind of what I was saying about DK and Fear Turkey being some of the best, like, tactical minds in the game. And I don't think Sergeant Tucker should be slept on either in that regard. But innovation. I mean, you don't see ammos playing like this or doing this, but it's a huge boost to the International Men of Mystery. And if they can keep this up, that's a win condition. Having an ammo go off like that most games, if this is consistent, like, this is crazy. 1.5 right here. So DK, good job, man. Keep it up. I am extremely impressed. And we're gonna see some fun games out of DK this tournament, I think. Team highlight. I'm gonna highlight the Brisbane Laserforce crew. Holy cow. I think they took some of the advice that we gave to heart. So we got Troyota, Sexy Meow, Lucy Dune, Jeff Pex, Adipatosaurus, and Scraps. when I was looking at my player to highlight, I actually was really considering Sexy Meow and Lucidune because they both had some really good games tonight. I'm not going to count the one with the Loveland curveballs. I don't know quite what happened. But the other two games, I thought this team actually showed out and was really consistent. And if you look at these consensus rankings, despite the community putting them higher, myself, Kodama, and Glader put this team much lower, towards the bottom of the tournament in terms of the pecking order. But they did not look like a bottom tier team tonight at all. So we have one game here against Auckland, who is definitely seated higher than them in the consensus rankings. I think they found their commander and their lineup in general because they ran this lineup consistently throughout the night. And Sexy Meow showed up. This is a 20 MVP, 11.5K commander game. Kind of what we were even wondering, like, can you get an 11K commander game with like 1 or 0 medic hits? Look at this, like 29 hits on Demorange and a missile, positive hit diff on the heavy. And commanders don't always get like a really strong hit diff by necessity, but like this is exactly what we were talking about. Like Sexy Meow knows the arena well enough and is using the angles smartly to get a high score, and then like the team works together to close in. They really shared the medic hits here. 3-3-2. Toyota had a pretty strong game. Scraps with the 1.4, Jeff Peck's 1.3. I'm really liking this from the team, but I'm highlighting Lucidune, and she was one player who we were wondering, like, when she moved out to Brisbane and she's had 2 years to practice, how good has she gotten? Well, I'd like to highlight a 7-0 hit diff from Lucidune, not getting hit once the entire game against Auckland. That is incredible medic play, and you don't get to see medic plays get highlighted very often. Well done, Lucidune. And I'm glad that it seems like she and Adipatosaurus have a good synergy. And the second game I'll highlight from them, we've seen how strong the International Men of Mystery are in this particular practice night. They only lost this game by a little more than 3K. So this is also these games are more impressive to look at. Lucidune did get hit 8 times that game, which relatively speaking isn't that many. Like, she survived most of the game and was able to, she mostly got killed out by nukes. Simply okay with the strong commander performance, and Fear Turkey definitely getting in there. But Sexy Meow, not the greatest hit diff in this one. They probably focused her down a lot more, but I like how Scraps was able to capitalize on this, and Pat was able to be shooting into the midfield. There's work to be done for the Laserforce crew, but I'm really encouraged, and you should be really encouraged if you're listening, that I think you found a lineup that will build some consistency, and now you can go talk about strategy. What are we going to do next time? In a game like this, how can we enable Meow to get more points? What do we need to do to support her? Good job. Wanted to highlight that team. My favorite storyline is going to be the resupply are on resupply, and I want to highlight the resupply in general. But when we look at these practice games, we've got Guy Next Door on Medic, and we've got Fireball DK and Old Man Thanatos on Ammo and Medic, and I think that's just so cool. But also, now that we're seeing some consistent lineups, we have 5 teams where we have at least an idea of who their resupply are going to be. And as we said in the Power Rankings show, who the resupply are is going to be a pretty important piece of determining how good these teams are in this tournament. Especially talking with some people who've been playing in the arena the last few days, seems like ammo carriers have the ability to fire into the midfield in a pretty strong way. And of course, like, you never want a medic that's going to be getting hit a lot, but can also take pop shots into the field and time things well, use their trails. Yeah, resupply seems really important in this tournament. So seems like what we got is for International Men of Mystery, DK and Than on resupply. Pat and Lucidune for the Laserforce crew seem like that is their current starting resupply. Lone Soul and Guy Next Door for Auckland. And we also saw Disco Stew and Do Not Pass Go for All-American Supercharged. And finally, Archdruid and Dante, who I think most people might have predicted, seems to be the duo for BDRL. Brisboom, I think they're going to mix it up throughout the week. I'm not going to take anything from tonight. They didn't even have all their players. The Curveballs had a couple different resupply duos involving Azra that they're trying out, so I'm not sure what they're going to go with throughout the week, and we might see some changes. And the Zone team wasn't here. They played like one game earlier. It was more of a mixed game. I'm so sorry, Zone. Gosh, it would have been really helpful for you to be here tonight to get a game in. Whew, to not even be here on this night and to come in tomorrow. It's probably going to be a rough week for the Zone team, to be honest. I'm worried about them. I'm really worried about them. Okay, and finally, we're going to end with a game to watch and a closer than expected prediction. So the game to watch, I'm going to highlight the first game of the tournament, International Men of Mystery and Team All-American Supercharged. I think this match has a lot of not just question marks, but I think there's rivalry. I think there's people trying to prove who's better. Some of the, I don't know, like Western thinking, Eastern thinking, Western sites, Eastern sites. These sites often play together because they're all in the US and it's easy to travel to each other compared to like the Auckland and Brisbane teams. So these players all frequently play against each other in tournaments. The US East team, American Supercharged, has some of the bigger known names over the last 10 to 15 years, people who have won lots of tournaments. And the Men of Mystery have more people who have actually like they've been newer and lost more in the last 10, 15 years if they've even been playing that long. But they had more recent success, and they've been practicing more this week. And as Kodama sort of mentioned, there's kind of like the new way of thinking about the game versus the old way of thinking. And if that's even a thing, or how much is it a thing? So many questions. And I'm so hyped that this will be the first match of the tournament. Not to mention, and this was randomly drawn, so this wasn't on purpose, but this was the first game of the tournament, I think, in Auckland in 23. At least it was in the first round. East and West went up against each other. So I just love that continuing storyline. That's the game to watch, I think. It will also kind of set the stage, I think, for how those teams are going to do over the next few days. I could definitely see it creating a lot of narratives in people's heads. And then my closer than expected prediction, which is not to predict an upset, but to predict a game that will go closer than you think. It's hard to say right now. Like I had some ideas, but we don't even have rankings, so it's hard to say what's going to be an upset at the beginning here. But I'm going to give it to the BDRL versus Brisboom. As much as the BDRL is, the inferior team, B teams tend to know their A teams really well. And I'm going to predict that this game, where Brisboom, I bet, in all their other games, even against these higher seeded looking teams, I think they're going to be like complete crushings. I think against the BDRL, we're going to at least see some interesting action and some interesting reset chains where the Brisboom might have to actually rally a couple times during a game rather than just having smooth sailing. That's my prediction. Okay. That concludes the ZAP report. Good luck to teams this tournament. Good luck if you're watching this, you're about to start. Oh, we're so excited. We're all so excited. Thank you all so much for playing and giving us at home something awesome to watch. We will see you all in the next ZAP report. See you tomorrow.